Hello, my fellow humans, and welcome back to Scatter Love Tarot with your girl coming at you with another pick a card reading. I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and this space with you. And for anybody that is new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. And should these messages happen to resonate with you, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you are interested in supporting the channel further, check out the description box. You'll find everything that you need, including how to connect with me to get a personal reading, as well as how to join as a member of the channel. So that being said, today we are going to do your spirit guides are bringing you a solution. We are using the spirit guide. It's the Ask Your Guides Oracle cards by Sonia Coquette. These are great. I love this. She has a book that goes along with these as well, and it's so powerful. Definitely check it out if you're in the mood to do so. But with that, let's go ahead and open with your prayer, and we'll get this reading underway. Such a beautiful day today. I can actually have the windows open because it's not too cold, which is so nice. All right. My beloved source, this prayer is for any and all who come on to this reading, whether it's for the entire time or just a moment's time. Today I ask that you bring forth clear messages for us today so that we can make sound decisions moving forward and trust our intuition and know that it is leading us to a place of truth and is leading us to our highest good, even if it seems like it might not be. Sometimes we feel like we're taking a misstep on the journey because something really hard appears or something really disastrous comes up along the journey. But what I ask is that you help remind us that it's all a part of it. The good, the bad, the beautiful, the ugly. That just because we choose to go on this journey doesn't mean that life stops happening to us. What it means is that we now have the tools and the resources in order to face life head on instead of running from it and feeling overwhelmed by it. And should we feel overwhelmed in this moment, I ask that you bring us into a space of peace, into a space of inner work, and into a space of inner understanding so that we can clear our heads, clear our minds, and listen to our hearts so that we know exactly what's for us and what to do next. And if all of this seems impossible at this moment, then may you wrap us in your comforting, loving arms and simply remind us that we are not alone and that you are walking this journey with us. And may you do that in the miraculous ways that you always do. As these words are spoken unto this reading and upon this tribe, so shall they be. Amen. Aho. Asay. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my beloved source. Thank you. All right. So I already gave these a shuffle before we get started. And we're just going to go ahead and move into it. So source, for pile number 1, what Ask Your Guides Oracle card will help us better understand the solutions that their spirit guides are bringing? Pile number 1, thank you. And for pile number 2, source, what Ask Your Guides Oracle card will help us better understand the solution that their spirit guides are bringing them? For pile number 2, source. Okay, thank you. And for pile number 3, source, what Ask Your Guides Oracle card will help us better understand the solution that pile number 3 spirit guides are bringing them? Okay. Thank you. On the bottom of the deck, we have from the teacher guides coming in with balance. So bringing in balance to the situation, helping you to find a center of gravity, right? So that things don't seem so one-sided, or so that things are, not feeling so out of sorts and out of hand. It's through our balance that we're able to show up with a clear heart and a clear mind, right? And do what's best for us. It's not about what's best for everyone else in this situation. It will always be about what is best for us in this situation, and to take that really seriously. Sometimes we get scared to do that because we think that we're hurting other people's feelings, but if we're always at the whim of everyone else's feelings, we'll never take care of ourselves the way that we need to. And so the message here is really just trusting that it's okay for you to take care of you right now, okay? All right, so for pile number 1, we do have this beautiful Unikite for you to choose from. For pile number 2, we have this beautiful piece of lapis lazuli. And for pile number 3, we have this beautiful piece of green aventurine. So pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3, and whichever pile you feel drawn to, that should be the pile for you. With that, I will see you over there. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this beautiful Unikite, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be a reading on your spirit guides are bringing you a solution. We're going to find out what that is. First, I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you. And for anybody that is new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. And should these messages happen to resonate with you, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And with that being said, let's go ahead and hop to it and find out what solutions are pile number 1 spirit guides bringing to them. What would they like to say? What are the solutions, pile number 1 spirit guides, that you're bringing to them? What are the solutions that you're bringing to them today? Okay, so we've got the 8th house, Scorpio energy, and Pluto. All right, so coming in with all this Scorpio energy. Wow. So, all right, there's been a lot of things that have been hidden from you, it feels like. A lot of things that maybe you haven't been seeing clearly, or again, like going behind the scenes, right? Like we're not always privy to the things that are happening behind the scenes. And sometimes that leaves us a little freaked out because it feels like things aren't coming to fruition for us. It feels like we're failing, or it feels like we're struggling in regards to life. And so I see here, it's like you've been doing a lot of work, whether that's shadow work or that is just working on the subconscious in general, healing those past wounds, letting go and making space. We see here you've been facing a lot of fears and trying to clear out that baggage and that karma. This is like that past life karma or past life baggage. And if you don't believe in past lives, that's fine. It's just whatever has happened up until this point. You're doing your best to really let that go. And with this, it feels like we're finding a place of transformation. And it's like, maybe you've been working on transformation this whole time. It's like, well, I've been transforming. I've been changing. I've been altering everything about me. Like, I'm not the same person who I was, but it's because in this lifetime, pile number one, you're supposed to change constantly. Like, there's no sticking still for you. It's just like, as soon as you have a transformation, another one is on the way. And I feel like sometimes that can get incredibly overwhelming and incredibly disheartening too, because it's just like, feels like there's no stepping point. Like, as soon as you put one foot down, you have to jump onto the other foot in front of you, because otherwise that step is just going to crumble away. And it's exhausting, right? It feels exhausting, but it's almost like you're a conductor of some sorts. Like, maybe your astrology chart points to you being a conductor in this life, or some sort of archetype like that. But it's really this energy of releasing what it is that was holding you back in other times in your life, like things that were a block and things that were really keeping you from growing and things that were keeping you small. You're constantly overcoming those things. And so even though it seems like it's just this big burden and it's disheartening, it's really not. You're becoming incredibly powerful and determined, and you're gaining access to a lot of wisdom in the Akashic records. And you're constantly getting downloads from source, and the shift is always taking you to a higher perspective. So it's like, as soon as you begin to accept a belief, like, there's something that challenges that belief. And it's not, my apologies, it's not like you're not grounded in what you believe in. It's just that source is always taking you to this place of a higher plane, and it's like seeing things from an even larger perspective. So it's the circumference of wisdom and knowledge is expanding, and it's ever expanding for you. And your guides want you to know that, like, even though this is frustrating, this is how it's supposed to be for you. Like, there probably won't be a period in your life that ever really truly just becomes stagnant, because you're just built a different way. You're built in this energy of having always to view things from the place of the shadow and understanding the shadow. So even if you're not transmuting energy with yourself, you're gonna be transmuting energy with others, and that's why it's always gonna be on the go. Right? You're destroying constructs, you're destroying beliefs, you're destroying things that keep people in habitual patterns. And part of that comes from you doing that with yourself first. So this is very powerful. You could have prominent 8th house placements, Pluto placements, as well as Scorpio placements along your chart. I did hear Scorpio in the South Node as well. So if your Scorpio's in the South Node, this definitely applies to you. Pluto in Pisces, the 8th house in Leo or in Virgo, and Sagittarius, I heard, and the 9th house in with Scorpio, and okay, that's it. Also, what is your 5th house placement? I just heard. So knowing your 5th house placement is going to help you out a lot as well. Okay. Which is strange, right? Because the 5th house placement really has to do with like dating and fun and leadership. But I feel like the reason that 5th house placements are going to help you out knowing what they are is because it's going to help you find ways to enjoy your day-to-day, even though there's a lot of transmutation going on, even though there's a lot of change, and even though there's a lot of, just feels like everything is getting destroyed. So it might feel a lot chaotic, like there's a lot of chaos in your life, like all the time. But let's see, we're gonna see what it is that they're giving you a solution to, because I feel like there's one particular situation right now that is weighing on your hearts, and we're gonna see what that is. All right, so spirit guides, what solution are you bringing for pile number one? What solution are you bringing for pile number one? Could be dealing with a tricky family member, someone very close to you. What solution are you bringing for pile number one? Yeah, feeling stuck in a situation. Okay, yeah. What solution are you bringing for pile number one, spirit guides? Okay, thank you. What solution are you bringing for pile number 1? All right. On the bottom of the deck, we have my nose. Okay. Wait. Temperance in the reverse. Yeah. And this is a difficulty in blending opposites, the light and the shadow, right? Like if we have the temperance in the reverse, it's just difficulty in healing, not seeing the value in it, not seeing like what's the purpose if I'm always feeling stuck. But this is a perspective that's coming through for you right now because of old beliefs and old patterns, is saying like, because everything is falling apart, like nothing is working out in my life. But with all of this Scorpio energy up here, it's not that nothing is staying the same. It's just that you're always growing and you're facing fears that have kept you small. And so you're always transforming, and there will never be a moment where you're just, it's not that you're not at peace, and it might feel like that right now, but there's not ever going to be a moment where things just basically die down for you, because in space, when you're making space and there's a time when you just kind of like, zen out, that's exactly the moment when your spirit starts getting to work and pulling things apart for you and making you remember things and making this come up and showing you this over here, and the downloads are coming in over here, and it's like, always working on some sort of masterpiece, which is your highest alignment. And it's frustrating because I feel like there's one particular situation that you're in currently, and this could be with a sibling, this could be with a father, this could be with a grandfather, or even a lover, okay? And a divine masculine of sorts here, and or masculine energy. And they're making you feel like you don't belong, or they're making you feel like you're the oddball out, and it's making you feel like you're stuck in a box. And so there's constant healing that's going on behind the scenes. But right now you're having a hard time integrating that healing because it's so massive. This is like digging up an original childhood wound. So like the original wound. And that's like pulling back layers and layers and layers and years and years and years of hiding from it. And that can be really overwhelming. Yeah. But the main thing here, and the biggest solution for you, is to find space and time for self-care, self-love, you know, whether that is meditation, taking a bath, spending time in nature, you know, working out, doing yoga, practicing kriyas, practicing, you know, tai chi, or some form of physical movement that's like a movement meditation. Whatever it is, journaling, reading, practicing self-love, and reconnecting with source and your guides here is going to help you out so much, because they are here to support you. And this might not be the tangible solution that we're all looking for, but it is a very, very valuable solution, because once you're able to trust your team, then you're going to realize like they're never going to lead you down the wrong path. Look at this. We've got 6 and 6 coming out together. The 6 of Swords and the Lover card. Yeah, this is about realigning with your spiritual guide and with your spiritual and inner intelligence. Right? Choosing the path, not because it's easy, but because it's the right path for you to learn the lessons that you need to. You know, and it's been hard because I feel like there's this energy where it's like, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to make things uncomfortable. I don't want to make things, you know, bad for me. I don't want things to fall apart, because it feels like they're constantly falling apart anyways. To make this choice or to disengage from these past influences is not easy. Okay? And this is like showing you that your heart is corresponding with the will of source, with the will of the divine. But it feels like you're going back and forth sometimes. Like, is this really what I want? Is this really what I need? Is this really the way to get there? And you might even be pushing away people who are trying to help. And I feel like in this, you're pushing away your guides because it feels like they're leading you down a wrong path. Like, that's the energy I keep getting. Like, they're the ones who keep putting me on this journey. They're the ones that keep putting me in this place. They're the ones that keep creating this difficult time for me. But it's actually not your guides. It is the trauma getting triggered because of these events that they're leading you to. And what you're not realizing is that when you're in those moments of getting triggered, you're actually quickly adapting to them. Like, it might happen, you're getting triggered, and then it feels like the why me's are coming in, and then when the why me's are there, you're not recognizing that, wow, I've actually already adapted to this and moved on from something, because the situation in and of itself is the only thing that has your focus. And again, it's not good or bad, it's just that's the energy that you're in. And that's why your guides are trying to say, like, choose to connect with us. We are really trying to help you heal. Like, you may have even said at one point, like, I'm ready to heal quickly from this, I'm ready to overcome this. And so they're trying to take you down the fastest path of healing, which sometimes brings in a whole lot of things all at once, and that's not comfortable at all. But instead of resigning to it, remember that you're trying to make the best of this situation with what you have, also while learning how to grow in the way that serves you best, right? It's about connecting with your higher self and your higher soul, and really letting yourself experience what it is to let go of those old paradigms and those old belief systems that kept you feeling like you were never going to advance. Yeah, there's something here that feels very intense. There's something here that feels extremely intense. It's like, it's too intense for me to even start to face. But we do have a perspective shift, and the choice is yours. And the solution is to see it from a place of, I'm healing, and I'm healing this completely from my energy altogether. Like, I'm not going to have to continue to deal with this. Let's see if we can get some Osho Zen on it real quick and see what they say. What solution are you bringing to pile number 1? Consciousness, the Ace of Swords, the truth. We're trying to help you embrace the truth and step up into a higher consciousness. What solution are you bringing to pile number 1? Patience. All good things in time. Like, there's no need to rush this. And I feel like that's the hardest part, because we want to rush things sometimes, like, especially things that are uncomfortable. Like, we don't want to deal with them anymore. We want them to be gone as quickly as possible. But they are recognizing that you have this exhaustion. They're recognizing that things have been very difficult for you, but this is what you're not seeing, is how beautiful you have become because of these situations. And by choosing to go with the cycles, you're going to embrace this inner divine being and grow. But remember, everything has its time, including you. Like, we can't force our time. It will come when it's meant to come. But to stay in this place of consciousness and presence without being attached to what's going on outside of us will help us find balance within our journey and let go of this exhaustion. And this is resistance, right? This is that resistance to it. And no longer holding on to that. On the bottom, yeah, politics. Yeah, someone's definitely being a sneaky person here, or there's someone who just doesn't have your best interest in heart. And you've known that for a long time, and I feel like you've tried your best to get away from them. It's like, you're like, I'm doing everything in my power to get away from them. Whether this is at work, I mean, we said it could have been family. I was getting family in the beginning. This could be a trauma because of family. It's like, there's something here where you've been trying your best to get away from them. And they're saying, just be patient. You're going to have to deal with this just a little bit longer for things to balance out. And it's just all about you healing this wound. There's something that you've been resisting to heal. And that's why you've been overcome with exhaustion as well. And, sometimes this is a really hard lesson for us to embrace. It's like, we understand it, but some of us love so deeply. We're here to teach others about unconditional love. And others who will never love us as deeply as we need them to, they teach us about self-care and self-love. And sometimes it's a really hard thing to embrace, because it's like, well, how is that fair if I love so deeply and someone's not going to love me like that? But in this life, it's not about fair. It's about the duality of this life and the constant contrast that is forever folding in on itself and being created at every one moment. And we're a part of that too. We're all cogs in a clock, basically. And we have our part to play, and we can choose to be stubborn and resist our part, or we can go with the flow and let things begin to unwind. And I feel like the more you go with the flow and the more you choose to come back and do things that matter for yourself, like writing, journaling, creating, painting, singing, music, whatever it is, whatever you enjoy doing, the more you do that, the easier things will get for you, because you'll be focused on building something instead of focusing on the difficulties in the situation. Because right now it feels like there's one energy, at least, if not a whole bunch of energies, that there's nothing you can do to get them to change the way that they're going to show up. Like, there's nothing, it's outside of our control. There's no way that you're going to be like saying the right word for them to understand where you're coming from, because they don't see it, right? And they're not going to see it. And so this is about letting yourself be that unique person, free from guilt, while still working on yourself. Like, if it's at work, then remembering it's like you're only here for work. You're here to get your paycheck. You're here to get paid. And then when you go home, really focus on pouring that really pent up energy into your creativity, so that you're not just holding on to it and letting it overwhelm you and letting it exhaust you, right? Easier said than done, I understand. But with patience and practice, you will get the hang of it. And you won't be worried about this situation any longer. Okay, they went that one for sure. This one was the one that wanted to come out. Conjunction, yeah, a union emerging, a coming together. This is about you finding union with your higher self and with source. We were talking about that here, right? Even with your guides here, they want you to come into this place of balance with your higher self and your guidance team, because that's what's going to help you feel like you're supported, even though there's not very many people in your life, if anybody in your life right now supporting you. Your team is, absolutely. We have Cancer energy, nurture, comfort, and protection. This makes so much sense to come out. Cancers are very sensitive, right? Cancers are incredibly sensitive. Out of, even above Pisces, I would say Cancers are probably the most sensitive in the zodiac. And I know there's going to be Pisces out there that argue with me on that. But the reason I say that is because Cancer is all about seeing things from this place of family. Like, everyone should be in harmony. Everyone should be together and happy. It doesn't matter what's going on. We should be able to put it down and come together as a family. And so they take everything so personal and as a project, basically, to solve when no one's in harmony, when no one has this happy family. And so they take that, and it weighs on them so much. And a Cancer would give the shirt off their back if it was the last shirt that they had, as long as it made someone else that they cared about happy and at peace. Like, they would never even question it. But then the problem is that so many people take advantage of Cancerian energy in that way. And that's what causes the little crab to come out and be vicious and pinch, because it's like, well, you took advantage of me when I was just trying to be genuine with you. And so I feel like in this situation, you're being incredibly genuine, but people are taking advantage of you. People are not appreciating what it is that you're bringing to the table, because they themselves don't see the value that they bring, right? This is just the role that they're playing. And it's like, instead of taking that personal, just like seeing them from their hurt and seeing them from their suffering. And that allows you to detach from the situation and begin to recognize that this is not mine to hold. Venus energy, give and receive love. Wow. Yeah. Find value and see beauty. Okay. So opening yourself up to letting go of the resentment, letting go of the harsh feelings that have been there. It's not that you're not it's not that it's not valid that you feel this way. Okay, it is. It's valid that you feel this way, but what ends up happening is if we don't validate that this is the way that I feel because of this situation, we end up letting the situation eat away at us, and we become projections of that. So this is about us finding a way to let go of the projection that's been with that. Yeah. Thank you so much, spirit guides. So again, embracing the dualistic nature of life with lightning and power. This card talks about duality, and duality is that without lightning, thunder would cease to exist. So we want a world where nobody is mean and nobody is narcissistic and nobody is unkind. And while that's a beautiful sentiment, because we live in this dualistic world, if we got rid of all that negative energy, then the positive energy would also cease to exist and it would collapse on itself. And so the balance, it hangs in the balance that no matter what happens, there will always be one side and the other. That's just so that the balance is there, right? And so this is about understanding that it's out of our control what's going on with other people. But when we can understand that they're here and they're in this energy so that they can balance out the ways of the world, then it makes it less personal, right? So like when someone's attacking us or treating us like crap, we can say like, wow, that person's really coming from a hurt place and they're in their shadow. But isn't it funny, because the shadow and the light exist within all of us. So we have to look at the yin-yang symbol. When you look at the yin-yang symbol, you have the light side with a little bit of shadow, and then you have the shadow side with a little bit of light. That's exactly the dualistic nature of this world. That's how it works. And so this is just saying, like, by embracing your power and also embracing the truth, that there's nothing you can do outside of yourself except for taking care of you, then you let go of the power that this has on you and you reclaim that power and that strength. All right, whoa, okay, I wanted one of these cards, but maybe I didn't. Hold on one second, my deck just exploded everywhere. Okay, my apologies. For whatever reason, my deck went everywhere, so... Okay, on the bottom we have snake with creation. Yeah, you know, I'm getting this energy of like, I've been protecting my heart for so long, but you're missing that you're actually growing rooted day by day, more so into your... I keep hearing the poetic self. This is the poetic self. Instead of digging so deeply and protecting yourself, let yourself shine, right? There are going to be people who try to hurt you, but you've grown so much that they can't hurt you. Like, you're rooted in yourself now. You have to let yourself shine. Okay, let me move this over. Got my cards packed way too tight on my table over here. All right, what else, spirit guides? What is the advice that you have for pile number 1? Thank you. On the bottom, set healthy boundaries with armadillo. Yeah, it's all about, that's the thing, that's how we don't get hurt, because we choose to go towards ourselves, right? Like, boundaries are saying like, look, you're in my space and I need you to get out of my space so that I can, you know, continue doing what I'm doing. Or if you're treating me a certain way, I don't appreciate that. You know, we have to vocalize how we feel about things. And if we don't, we can't assume that people are going to read our minds. Like the same way you can't read another person's mind, even if you have telepathy, there are certain things that we still can't tap into with that telepathic energy, right? So don't expect people to be able to read your minds, right? So you have to vocalize what it is that you need, including your wants and your desires, and they matter. We have Pele coming out. Look, light your fire. And Pele is such a powerful goddess. Like, you know, she rules a volcano. She's all about destruction to bring the beauty of creation. And so sometimes that's the purpose of it, right? When we're talking about that with the dice, it feels like everything is always in chaos. Everything is always getting destroyed, but it's getting destroyed so that you can come into this beautiful place. Inanna with believe in yourself. Exactly. Look at how they're both, like, their arms are up here. The frame is you. You're the one in the frame. but you have to choose to be in that energy. Okay, so let's see what this one is. Co-create with spirit. What? Isn't it funny how it landed over here, and that's what we talked about with the Ace of Cups this whole time? This co-creation with source. Like, your spirit guides are asking you to reconnect with your spiritual well-being. And when you reconnect with your spiritual well-being, all of this chaos that's been going on, especially if this is with a person, like, it's just not gonna matter as much as it does when you're not connecting with yourself. Because when you're not connecting with yourself and with your guides, like, all you can think about is the situation. And there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just life. Look. Oh my goodness. With the volcano volatility coming out, and this card talks about being angry about the way that things are going. Right? And not realizing that this is source having a hand in why things are going the way that they're going. But this card talks about just being completely unhinged, because why does this have to happen to me? Can't believe this is the way that things would go. It's that why me energy coming out, right? But this is source breaking down all those things that don't serve us and all those things that don't belong in our journey. And sometimes we just don't realize it because we're just so used to it, or it's just kind of become like a background character. And so it's something we don't pay attention to. And so source is the one that's bringing that into our consciousness so that we can choose to destroy it for the good of ourselves. Look, and we're talking about a connection here with Tarantula. So they're being clear here that this is some sort of connection, and look at how it's holding you down, right? And it is frustrating. You are exhausted from these connections, which we understand, but we're trying to help you find your power. Who do you think is really stronger here, the tarantulas or this character here? I mean, just logically thinking, it's going to be this character. As long as they stood up, they could break free from all of these webs and throw these tarantulas into the forest and take off. But feeling stuck by them, right? Feeling stuck by something that is less powerful. We're trying to bring you up into this place of leadership. Wow. This is for your greatest good, to bring in a ton of prosperity. And I do believe that this is connected with Ganesh, and Ganesh is the remover of obstacles, right? So this is right now what's going on. Even though it's hard, it's a removal of a huge obstacle in your life. And the solution is to connect with source, to connect with your guides, to let the destruction happen. Don't try to stop it. Just let things unravel, because you're going to start seeing a deeper truth for yourself. Let's take a look at your spirit guide card. No. Leadership and leadership. Wow. Wow. And this is directly from your higher self too, with the higher self card coming in. Oh my goodness, this is such a synchronistic reading. I already love it. We've got charisma, enterprise, authority, and motivation. Your higher self encourages you to consciously recognize and embrace the leadership role you are carving out for yourself. Through your focus, dedication, consistency, and discipline, you're emerging from the background and becoming recognized by others for both your competence and your wisdom. Others are naturally drawing to your empowered vibration and will follow your lead as they accurately sense that you can be trusted. Your higher self is cheering you forward. Step into the lead and do not follow others. You have outgrown other people's control, and you can trust yourself now to successfully lead your life. Shine your bright light on the world and make no apologies for your enthusiasm or confidence as you forge ahead on your path. Others are watching and will follow. Be mindful, however, not to overdo, or you risk becoming disconnected from your source or getting burned out. Wow. I thank you so much for this confirmation. Your natural enthusiasm is like fire. It is warm and appealing, but must be contained or it can consume you, right? This volcano and Pele energy coming through. This is your higher self's message to you. Lead with cool, calm, and steady confidence, right? Don't let it get to you. Don't let it bring you down just because some people are just people are going to continue peopling. Like, at the end of the day, like, no matter how much we grow, people are still going to continue peopling. And there are 8 billion people on the planet. And I don't know about you, but to me, that's a really large number, right? Like, that's a huge number. And, you know, we have to stop and think about that sometimes. Like, you know, we're so focused on the small, tiny little group around us all the time, and we're forgetting that there's so many other people out there. And so if your little group around you is just not serving you or is not in alignment with you, cool. Because that's a lot of people out there, and there's got to be at least somebody out there somewhere who isn't going to be in this energy of low vibration, who really is working to become a higher version of themselves, right? I know it's true, but sometimes we get so caught up in our tiny little world that we forget there's plenty of other fish in the sea. And even for ourselves, like, we don't have to get so caught up on these connections that are very shallow, right? When we're looking for deeper connections. Okay, so this is what I see here for you. If you felt like this was your reading, is there a volcano emoji down below? If there is, leave the volcano emoji. If not, leave the little flame emoji and say, I am an inspiring leader and I choose to stay calm and collected so that my fire is contained, but burning passionately and strongly, leading the way for me. And if it resonated with you, it means so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. If you are interested in supporting the channel further, you will find everything you need in the comment or in the description box. How to reach me for a personal reading, including how to join as a member here on the channel. And with that, I do want to take a quick second to thank your spirit guides, your messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this very powerful message. And a special shout out to your higher self for also coming in as well. And with that being said, until next time, pile number 1, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this beautiful lapis lazuli, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be your reading on your spirit guides are bringing you a solution. I first want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time in this space with you. And for anybody that is new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. Should these messages happen to resonate with you, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And with that, let's go ahead and hop to it and find out what solutions are pile number 2 spirit guides bringing to them today. What would they like them to know? What solutions are pile number 2 spirit guides bringing them today? What would they like them to know? What solutions are pile number 2 spirit guides bringing them today? Okay, so we've got the 9th house, we've got Capricorn energy, and we've got Neptune. Okay. I just heard, don't be afraid of the hard work. That's what I heard. It was so loud. It came in, it made my ear tickle a little. Ooh. Those disembodied voices. Okay, so anyways, back to what we were doing. It's, yeah, don't be afraid of the hard work, okay? There's something here that you would like to learn, and you have already dedicated quite a bit of time to it and a lot of effort into it as well. But you're feeling like you're not seeing any results, right? Whatever this could be. It could be learning a new topic. It could be uncovering your spiritual gifts. This could be learning something, you know, like a language, or this could be learning something in school even. Even for work, this could be like getting more knowledge about your job so that you can grow, but it feels like something's not sticking. That's what it feels like here. There's like this resistance to, oh my gosh, like I already feel like I've put so much energy and so much effort into learning this and so much time. Like, when am I going to see the results? But here it's showing, it's like, don't be afraid of the hard work and the dedication that it's going to take to learn this, because whatever it is that you're taking on, this is not like a simple subject, right? Whatever it is, it could be learning policies. This could be learning, you know, I don't know. I heard finances. I heard that come in really loud too. This could be learning about nutrition. This could be learning about the body. This could be medical, right? Maybe you're in medical school and this is learning like medical jargon and stuff. But whatever it is, it feels like there's a lot of jargon behind it. This could be legal jargon, right? Like all those words and all that stuff. And to be patient with yourself, because even if you don't see progress, like there is progress. It's kind of like that, you know, they call it the holy affirming. It's the thing that's happening behind the scenes and we don't see it often. And then one day it appears and we're like, don't even question it, like, because we did all the work, right? Like, but it appears, and it's like trying to push the holy affirming through, and you can't do that, right? There's no pushing it through. Like, it's going to unfold the way that it's going to fold. But I feel like there's just this disconnect right now with you on your journey where it's just like, I'm ready to throw in the towel. I don't feel like things are working. I feel like I'm stumbling, or you're feeling like you're taking steps back. And oftentimes what happens is when we feel like we're taking steps back, we're meeting a threshold. And the threshold is something that we have to push past. And because it's difficult and challenging for us, it makes us feel like we've not done anything, because now we're expanding even further than we ever have before. And so it might make you feel like you're forgetting all that stuff that you already went through so much time memorizing and uncovering, but you're not. And again, it doesn't have to be school. This could be learning anything, but it does really feel like learning. You know, I know the 9th house does talk about divination. It talks about travel and all these other things. But to me, the energy that's coming in is like absorbing energy. Like I'm absorbing some kind of knowledge, or I'm absorbing some kind of information. And it just feels frustrating. Maybe you just started a new job and it's more difficult than any of the jobs that you've ever had. But like, you understand the premise of it, but there's like certain small, minute details that just feel like they're fleeting. And they're saying, like, don't be afraid of the hard work. Like, don't say that you haven't done the hard work either, because you have. And don't let, just because it's not clicking right away or clicking in the time frame that you think it should, that doesn't mean it's not going to click, right? And so there's a trauma also that's, yeah, okay, that's that. There we go. There it is. There's a trauma that's being brought up because of this as well. So maybe when you were younger, like you were expected to have really good grades, or you were expected to do well, or you only got praised when you were doing well. And so there's a trauma that's attached to this that's also pressing against that threshold. And so it's kind of like hitting you on double sides right now. All right, let's see what else comes through here. This is really, really interesting. I love these readings. Not even gonna lie. I love these readings so much. All right, let's get some cards on it. So, yeah, you really are in the process of manifesting, but it's like you put a time frame on it, and because the time frame came and went, like you're saying like, oh, obviously this isn't for me. But that's not true. Right? Like you have to keep going. Just because it didn't happen in the time frame that you said that it had to doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. And I feel like for you, Pile, too, like once it clicks, like that's it. Like it's going to be so much easier for you. And like you're going to be like, wow, I'm so glad I didn't stop, right? I keep seeing a hula hoop. Okay, so they want me to stop shuffling for a minute and give you this analogy, because I'm seeing a hula hoop. And it's like, if you know how to hula hoop, right? Like, that's awesome, but so many people, they don't know how to hula hoop, and you have to get the right size of hoop, and you have to make sure that you can, you know, hold it up. But when you first start hula hooping, like you can only do it for a couple times. Like if you don't know how to hula hoop, like it maybe only go around your body one time before you drop it, because you don't know how to move your hips in a way that's going to catch it, right? And so imagine that if the first day you got it, you've never hula hooped in your life, and you love the idea of hula hooping, and you try it, but then the hula hoop, it just keeps falling, and it just keeps falling, and it just keeps falling. and you never see progress on the first day, well, how can you compare your day one to someone that you're learning from who's a teacher and instructor teaching it, right? Like, they've been showing up every day for however long they've been showing up. Could be 10 years, it could be 20 years, it could be 5 years, but it's like you're saying like, oh, my day one needs to be exactly where their day 10,000 is, and that's just not, you know what I mean? Like, that's just completely absurd. It's not fair to you, and it's also not fair to the work that other person has put in. And so it feels like you're comparing yourself to someone here who has already gotten the hang of something, but you might not know exactly how much work they've put in behind the scenes. Okay, so let's see what comes through. Spirit guides. Yeah, okay, so we've got the Hangman coming out in the reverse already. Yeah, you're just not seeing things clearly here. Okay, so let's see what else comes through. What is the advice that you have for pile number 2? Like, the sun coming in. Yep, feeling stuck. Oh my gosh, these are clarifying the energy so well. All right, what would you like to tell pile number 2 here? I'm like so excited because they're clarifying what I was feeling, but I also know how frustrating that is, especially when you're learning something new. Yeah, the change comes by staying consistent, right? And there is change coming. Like, it's not like you're going to stay where you're at for forever. Okay, there is change that's coming, but it's going to take a lot of work and effort. With the 8 of Coins here, it's like building something, right? Like, you're building something from the ground up. And it's like, if you're only focused on the end result, you're going to miss the lessons that come by being present with the day-to-day dedication that gets you to the end result, right? So again, with the hula hoop, it's like, if you're only focused on the end result and every day you're comparing yourself to the end result, like, you're never going to have fun, right? You're always going to be miserable because you're not seeing the end result. And so instead of saying like, I'm holding the end result in my mind, but I'm not going to be attached to that, I want to know what this process is like just by me showing up and letting loose. You might find like in a week or two, like, you all of a sudden can hold the hoop up. It's not a big deal. Like, yeah, you're still refining your movements and stuff like that, but you can actually hold it up. And it's like, if you've been forcing yourself to compare yourself that whole time to the end result, like, you would have given up. And that's what they're saying. Like, you're forcing yourself to compare yourself to this final result, like the mastery of it. And that's why you're feeling like you want to give up. That's why you're not seeing it clearly. Like, you're holding the image in your head. Or it's like, if you're trying to get a PhD, or if you're trying to become a doctor and everything, it's like you're trying to get to the end before taking the first steps to get to the beginning, right? And that's why you're getting this feeling stuck in it. Wow, look at this. Yeah, you're not wanting to commit to it fully. So this is showing up with a childhood trauma of not feeling like you're good enough to commit to what it is that you want to see happen in your life, right? And that comes from us. Maybe we were really committed to something as a child, and maybe a parent totally, ruined it for us. They told us like we would never be able to do that, or we were never good enough to do that, or like comparing, if we were compared as children, that's another energy that's coming in. Maybe you were compared as a child, like not just to other people, but maybe you were compared to, like they would take your work and be like, how can you think this is good work? Like, you're just not that good, right? And not even using another person, but just cutting you down before you ever even get started. That's what it feels like. This is a wound that's coming up and being present here. And so they're trying to help you to really let go of this and open up to the process, and knowing that the change comes with opening up the process. So I'm gonna give a little bit of my own personal experience with this. I've been learning Spanish for like 3 years, and I lived with a Spanish speaking family for 8 years, and I'm not fluent. For 8 years, I lived with a Spanish speaking family, heard Spanish day in, day out, year by year, but because I was so scared to speak, to actually communicate with my mouth vocally, that's why I'm not fluent. And I can read and write in Spanish incredibly well. Like, my comprehension level is off the charts, and I understand it by listening to it. But the minute I go to speak, I'm like, and I can't remember the words. And even though I know what's supposed to go there, like, I can't remember the words. And so I decided I'm going to do it on my own. Like, I'm going to learn on my own. But then I realized, like, the only way to truly learn is this element of speaking, right? And the speaking part is the part that made me so nervous. But it's like, finally, I decided to download what they call a chat GBT. And a chat GBT is where you actually talk to AI. And so it gives you a sense of comfort at home. And I've been doing this for a little bit over a month, and my Spanish it's greatly changed. Like, they've been tracking my progress, and every day, like, the chat GBT gets harder and harder for me because it's pushing that limit. And last week was the first week that I hit this energy where I was just like, I'm done. I can't do this. Like, I'm not even communicating clearly. I don't even understand what's happening today. Like, I'm just over it. And so I asked the chat GPT, I was like, am I doing okay? Like, I was really concerned because that's how I felt. So I understand this energy that you're going through. Okay, but I had to overcome something because I was trying something new. And so this is like that energy. It's like you're trying something new, but if you give up before the process ever has its effect on you, you're never going to get to the end result. And that's what they're saying here. It's like, don't be afraid to keep trying. Like, even if you're failing, like, you're still getting experience from that. Right? And it feels like it's just like this is feeling oppressive to you. And I'm trying to adhere to a certain ideology that's just not working for you. How can you bring a little bit of fun into it, right? And so going back to what I was saying is, like, on my story, I started talking about something I was really interested in instead of just letting the chat GBT direct the conversation. Like, I started saying, can we talk about this? I'm really interested in this. And it made all the difference. I'm still getting the practice, but it's making it fun for me. And I'm seeing now a progress with it. And so when you do something and you switch the way you're seeing it, like, instead of looking at the end result and saying, like, how can I make this more interesting for myself? Like, going back to the idea of maybe hula hooping, like, would tricks and transitions make it more fun for you? If it's yoga, would a more fluid flow make it fun for you? If it's learning something, would it be changing the type of books that you're absorbing? Like, there's always different ways to approach it where you don't have to do things in such a conventional way. Like, even if it's law, like, what got you interested in going into law? Or if it's medicine, what got you interested in going into medicine? Like, start with those things, because if you bring a sense and an element of fun back into it, you're going to feel a lot more connected to what you're learning, and it's not going to feel so impossible anymore. And two, you're not going to want to give up, because that was the whole reason why you started, right? And so that's what it feels like they're trying to tell you here. Let's get some Osho Zen on it and clarify. Can we please clarify the Hangman energy here? What's the solution you're bringing for pile number 2? Okay, so we've got the Judgment, beyond illusion, and we've got the 3 of Cups with celebration. Exactly. Don't let the illusion be the reason that you just throw in the towel, because you already have so much to celebrate. You have so much that's going on for you right now that is getting you where you want to go. And just because you're not seeing the results doesn't mean that they're there, right? Find another way. Find another way that's going to work better for you. Even if you're in a structured environment, right? Like, even if you're in an institution, or even if you're in a college, or even if you're, like, learning from someone, don't be afraid to ask, is there extracurricular that I can do so that I can maintain my interest? Or is there something that you would recommend me that I could do in my own free time so that I can, keep showing up, because I'm getting bored with the work? And who knows, maybe if you vocalize that, whoever's teaching you will be like, hey, I'm really glad you said something, because I would have never known otherwise. I have another, what are those things called? Syllabus. I have another syllabus plan that we could try, and maybe that'll help. Maybe you're not the only one, right? So again, if you're quiet and you're just feeling completely bogged down by this, but you're not vocalizing it, like, no one's gonna know. And maybe you're not the only one in this situation if you're learning with other people. And if you're not, it's just about reminding yourself, why did you get involved in this in the first place? And then integrating that into your day-to-day. Can we please clarify the Pope energy here? Yeah, Thunderbolt, which would be the House of God, or what you might know as a Tower. Okay, so yeah, this is like letting something fall apart, but this feels like a mental process that's falling apart here, right? You've been burned a lot of times here on this journey, and it's created a lot of chaos in the monkey mind. And I feel like right now the monkey mind is playing havoc on you and making you feel like you're just not enough, or that you're not worthy, or whatever the situation may be. I do feel like there's a lot of negative thoughts that are just going insane right now in your mind, saying like, I can't do this. I'm never going to be good enough. I'm never going to have what it takes. I'm always going to be one step short. And that's not true. And your spirit guides are trying to show you the solution here is by learning how to celebrate the small things. Like if today you memorized one vocabulary word, that is a huge success. So what happens if every day you celebrate those little successes, because they are big and they do deserve that, right? What if you celebrate those, and then all of a sudden you're realizing like, the more I celebrate, the easier it is for me to learn, instead of putting myself in this situation where I'm basically being a dictator and saying, I have to. Technically, you don't have to do anything, right? But you want to. And maybe that's the change that you need, is reminding yourself that you want to, seeing beyond the illusions that are holding you down. There's a transformation that's happening here that you're just not aware of, because it's not for you to be aware of. Like we were talking about at the beginning of the reading, this is the holy affirming that's happening. It's going on behind the scenes. You know, it's like when you're gaining strength and you're lifting weights, like you don't watch your muscles grow, but then one day you look and you're like, wow, my muscles are a lot different than they were like a month ago, right? But you're not seeing it because you see yourself every day. It's something that's actually going on the inside. And then one day it shows. And so it's that same concept. Whatever this is that you're doing, it's like giving yourself the time and the space, and not comparing yourself to whomever it is that maybe has inspired you, or maybe that it is that you're learning from, right? Like a teacher or a guide or something like that. Like not comparing your journey to their journey, because there is no comparison, right? You're your own unique person, and you deserve to celebrate that. And they're their own unique person, and they deserve to be celebrated like that. Not, oh my gosh, like I have to be where you're at. Because in truth, even when you become a master at whatever it is that you're doing, you'll never be like them, because you'll only be like you. And that takes a lot of pressure off of it. On the bottom, awareness, yeah. Becoming aware of what's within your power to control here, and not being afraid of that. And coming back to this spiritual awareness will help you feel much more connected with the process. Yeah, there's been a lot of sorrow here. There's been a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, and a lot of not paying attention to your own red flags, right? The red flags that we give ourselves. Like sometimes we have to be really stern with ourselves. Like, hey, you're being really mean to me today, myself. So this is where we stop, right? And that might sound silly, but if we don't do it, no one else is gonna, right? So we have to be the advocate for ourselves in this. And that's what it really feels like your spirit guides are saying. Like the biggest solution for you is becoming an advocate for yourself, and recognizing that there's a lot of hard work in whatever it is that you're studying. You know, maybe you're studying astrology. And it was so funny. I told one of my friends the other day, I was like, you know, astrology is one of those things, like I could live multiple lifetimes and still barely scratch the surface, even if I was completely immersed in studying astrology, because it's just that big of a topic. Well, medicine is the same way. Law is the same way. Divination is the same way. Like there's so many things out there that it's like, you know, I think about it, learning tarot, and it's like I'm always learning more about tarot, and I'm always learning more about the spiritual realm, and I'm always learning more about communication styles with our guides. And I have tons of books. Like I have a library on stuff like dream working, connecting with the ancestors, connecting with spirit guides, being a psychic medium. Like I'm always learning about these things to deepen my gift. But it's like, no matter how many books I have, there's always going to be more, right? So it's like, there's always, and not everything is going to help. Like you're going to know what's going to help and what's not. But it's like, no matter what, there's always more information out there. And so if we're always saying like, we have to know it all, we're putting such a pressure on ourselves, and we're not allowing it to unfold the way that it will work for us in the best possible light, right? And so that's what it feels like here. They're saying like, take the pressure off of yourself and let things fall into place instead of forcing them to be a way that you think it should be. Allow it to be whatever it can be and whatever it's meant to be. We have Aries energy. Yeah, independence, bravery, and passion. This takes a lot of bravery to do this, to step back and say, I choose not to control the outcome. That takes a lot of bravery. Why? Because we're shown our entire lives that we have to control outcomes. And so we're stepping away from societal norms, which is easier said than done. It's just about the practice and the patience. What else would you like to say? Being vulnerable here with Meadow. Being vulnerable, open yourself up to your vulnerabilities. You know, there's this show that I watch, and I don't know if you know it or not. It's called Ninjago, and there's a part in there where Nia, she's a water ninja, and Sensei Wu is telling her, like, we have to find your weakness. And she's like, I don't have any weaknesses. You know, I'm good at everything that I do. And he gives her a bucket, and she has to go from being the samurai, which is what she decided to become because she felt like the ninjas was a boys' club. And there's a whole lot of backstory to it. But anyway, so she has to go now from being a samurai to becoming a water ninja. And she doesn't know how to control the element. And she's just like, I can't do that. Like, you know, it's been said that it skips generations. Like, she's trying to make all these excuses. And so Sensei Wu, he's like trying to teach her how to become a water ninja. And the first thing that he gives her is a bucket with a hole in it. And he says, your task and your only task for today is to fill up the bucket. And so she does all these different things to fill up the bucket. And why he's doing this is to find her vulnerability. And so she keeps doing all these different things. She sticks a lily pad in the bottom to try to block it up. It won't stay full. Like, she's like telling him, like, I filled up the bucket, the water's leaking out the bottom. And he's like, fail. And like, so all these different times go by, and he keeps telling her, fail, fail, fail. And she gets so mad. And she kicks the bucket into the pond. And she's screaming, I'm not supposed to be the water ninja. How am I supposed to be the water ninja? I can't ever be the water ninja. I'm the samurai. I can do the samurai stuff. And she's screaming at the top of her head, but she has to become the water ninja because her being the water ninja is the only thing that will help them save whatever the boss is in this particular season, which is ghosts, and water's the only thing that beats the ghosts. And so she thinks she can beat them with the samurai, and then she quickly finds out that it doesn't matter, that they'll overtake the samurai suit. Long story short, Sensei Wu, he's talking to, oh my gosh, what's her name? I can't even remember her name right now. Anyways, he's talking to Lloyd's mother, who's the green ninja. He's talking to her mother, his mother, because they're, you know, they're like a little item. They're cute. But she's like, maybe she's just not ready to be the water ninja. And he goes, well, she passed the test without even knowing, and at the same time we found what her greatest weakness is, which was our vulnerabilities, right? That's what we think is our greatest weakness, but it can also become our greatest strength. And she's like, really, what is that? And he said, feeling like she's not gonna succeed. That was her greatest weakness, feeling like a failure. And how did she pass the test? Is when she kicked the bucket into the pond, and it was at the bottom of the pond. It was full. Right? Even though it had a hole in it, it was still full. And so it's like, you think about it, it's so simple, but when you're trying to force something, it becomes complicated. And we like to make things so much more complicated. And so I know it seems like a long story, but the reason they want me to share this with you is because it's like, we're trying to help you become aware of what you think are your greatest weaknesses. And the only way to do that is by being completely 100% vulnerable with yourself. And to ask for assistance with Vision Quest with Desert here. It's like taking time, take a notebook and have these questions in the hand, and, you know, take nothing but your water and go sit out in nature for the whole day and ask these questions to your guides, like, and figure out the answers by writing down the inspirations that come, right? They will help give you those answers to get you to where you're going. It's going to take some time and some reflection. Yeah. This is powerful because it's like reminding you that like no amount of force is going to get you to where you think you need to be. Right? And that's part of coming into that divine feminine energy is we're trying to let go of the idea of force and we're rather coming into a place of receptivity. Moderation, rhinoceros. Like it's like anything in excess is a bad thing. This is like burning yourself here. There's like a lot of heat and a lot of action, movement going, but it's creating a lot of feeling burnout and feeling like nothing you do is enough. And they're saying like you're putting yourself in a position where you're now becoming whatever the voice is when you were a child, the one that was putting you down all the time. Like you're the one that's becoming that voice, and it's not like you're intending to, and there's no one's here like, how dare you pile 2 treat yourself like this, right? Like I said, you have to save yourself because no one else is gonna. But your spirit guides are saying like you have to come in and say like, I'm tired of treating myself this way, and choose to treat yourself differently. And that starts with by seeing your vulnerability as a strength rather than a weakness. Seeing that you're feeling like a failure right now, but you're not a failure, right? Transformation is beautiful. This is a huge part of your spiritual journey. This is a huge part of your spiritual growth as well. It is overcoming this belief, but it's going to take you going through this very uncomfortable place of change. You know, they say, I'm not sure, I've never actually watched it before. I'm sure you can watch a video on YouTube, but when a caterpillar turns into a butterfly, it turns into mush before it becomes a butterfly. That can't be comfortable. But it knows that it has to go through this process, and it doesn't shy away from it. So it's like you kind of have to become nothing to become something, right? It says share your gift, yeah, with Ra. Don't be afraid to shine the light on this, right? Listen to your intuition here. On the bottom, like Apollo, divine messages. This is like that confirmation. Like we're bringing you these messages from above. We've got a dolphin, a wolf. This is the caduceus, a hawk, and the bow and arrow. Right? And isn't that funny? Isn't Apollo one of the gods that flew too close? Was it Apollo that did that? Flew too close to the sun and his shoes melted or whatever it was. The wax. Was that the wax wings? I don't know. I think maybe I'm getting them confused here. I think Apollo, maybe he carries the sun in a chariot. Now I have to look it up. All right, Apollo. Now I'm getting them confused, I think. And so Aphrodite, it says, signs are being sent to you to light your path. Pay attention to the whispers of spirit. Apollo is a multifaceted Greek god of light and prophecy. He was a great musician, ruled over poetry, dance, archery, illness, medicine, oracles, and the sun. Okay, Apollo held the gift of prophecy. His oracle at Delphi was the greatest in the ancient world, consulted by the wealthiest and most influential people in Greece. From inside the temple, a priestess called the Pythia would channel Apollo's sacred messages, and priests wrote them down. The temple still stands on Mount Parnassus today. Apollo is a conduit for divine guidance and sacred signs. His symbol include the wolf, dolphin, swan, laurel crown, golden lyre, and silver bow. Yeah, so he's the one that helped the sun raise with the chariot, right? Running across the sky with the sun and his chariot. Like it says, interpret it, and if you don't understand a divine message, ask yourself, if I really knew, what would this sign mean? Interpret it kindly and trust yourself. Make a sign journal. Record your divine messages and notice recurring themes. That's exactly what Vision Quest is. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Apollo. Thank you for inspiring me to look that up. Okay, let's see what we've got here. The 6th house, establishing a foundation. Your day-to-day routine, health, daily life, and practical details, okay? This is going to become a part of your day-to-day life. There's no need to rush it. Uranus, radically change. This is this 5 of coins energy. right? We're trying to radically change something, but it's going to take time. Like, it's not going to happen overnight. And can you be okay with that? Look, 44 with Jackal, the truth. We're trying to bring this truth to you. Yeah, your reading has been full of synchronicities already. Look. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Spirit Guides of pile number 2. We've got Squirrel Spirit with believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, right? Because if you don't believe in you, no one else is gonna. Like, I could until I'm blue in the face, but if you don't believe in yourself, it's not gonna matter what I say. It's not gonna matter what anybody tells you. You have to believe in yourself for it to be true. Let's take a look at your card. I'm gonna read this from the book. Look, higher self message. Pile 1 got a higher self message too. Pause. Number 12, changing your perspective. Pause, reflect, wait, discern. Look at how beautiful this card is. Oh, I love these colors. The events unfolding now may feel urgent and threatening. First line. You may feel pressured to react immediately or suffer negative consequences. However, your higher self encourages you to take a breath and pause. This is not a real emergency. What appears to be threatening now will soon pass, and the shadow of the threat will disappear. There is no fire to run from. This is just some temporary confusion and an exaggerated response to it. Keep your emotions calm and turn to your higher self for guidance. Observe carefully as new information will emerge once the immediate upheaval settles down. Refuse to be swept up by the heightened emotions and drama around you. Remain grounded, quiet, and neutral. Avoid gossip, for it is harmful and misleading. Be patient and wait until the way is made clear once again. Allow your higher self to guide you to the right next steps. Don't draw any conclusions or feel pressured into making impulsive decisions. Sleep on things for a night. Better yet, sleep on things for 3 nights. By then, you will have a more accurate take on which way to move forward. Your higher self's message to you is pause and leave it to me for now. Coming into this place of peace. And what is this mudra she's holding with her hands? It looks like she's holding it like a mudra like that. So if you look up this might be a particular mudra that you can look up to help. I think it's actually the opposite way with this finger crossed over. I can't cross that finger over. That's kind of uncomfortable for me. But yeah, that's some mudra. I don't know if you can see it clearly in the camera. But pausing right now and coming, reflecting, this is where the big change happens. Being vulnerable for a minute, not rushing the day-to-day routines. You know, this whole reading's been about slowing down. And so the solution for you right now is really just bringing things to a pause and allowing the holy unfirming to take root, right? Because it's going to take root outside of our visual, our ability to see. Okay? Wow, so this is what I see for you here today, pile 2. If you felt like this was your reading, leave the little meditation emoji down below and say, I choose to pause and allow the truth to take root within my system, knowing that it's okay for me to allow things to take their time. And if it resonated with you, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. If you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find everything you need in the description box, including how to reach me for a personal reading, as well as how to join as a member of the channel. And with that, I do want to take a quick second to thank your spirit guides, your messengers, your angel source, my spirit guides, as well as a special shout out to your higher self for coming in with these messages today. And until next time, pile number 2, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this beautiful piece of green aventurine, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be a reading on your spirit guides are bringing you a solution. I do have a channel message before I get into my greetings, is that sometimes we have to begin again. I could not get the intro out for your pile for whatever reason. I just kept stumbling into it. And so I had to start again. And I don't usually do that. Usually I just let it be a mess because it shows you that I'm human too. And this time they wanted me to start again because that was the message that came through when I was starting it again. It's like, it's okay to begin again. All right, so I want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you. And for anybody that is new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. And should these messages happen to resonate with you, it would truly mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. With that, let's go ahead and hop to it and find out what solution are pile number 3 spirit guides bringing to them. What would they like them to know? What would they like to say? What solutions are pile number 3 spirit guides bringing to them? Okay, so we've got the 12th house, Virgo energy, and Jupiter. Trying to help you be patient with the unknown is the energy that I'm feeling here. It's like there's a lot of abundance in the air for you. It's trying to come into this physical realm. But you feel like sometimes you're just getting a little bit impatient with the process, and so been trying to, find ways around it. Are you going to focus here on me? Okay. And they're saying like it's okay to be really just step by step with the process of what's behind closed doors, or what's behind the spiritual realm, what's behind the veil. Right? And I feel like you've been through a lot in life, that you've experienced a lot of loss, or it's like when things started becoming somewhat stable, suddenly something happened and it all fell apart. And so there's a fear behind it that's coming up, where it's like, even though things might seem semi-stable right now, it's like trying to rush to an ending, because this is very similar to pile number 2, but it's a different type of energy. Because I feel like it's like rushing to an ending so that you can just figure out if it's going to fail or not. Like I put all this energy and effort into it. Is it just going to fail? Like everything else does. It's like it feels like. And so there's a lot of grief that's been hidden for a long time. And I feel like you're in the process of healing that, and your spirit guides are helping you to heal that grief. But it hasn't been easy, and they want to remind you that this is going to bring a lot more abundant things into your life. It's going to bring a lot of good into your life, right? It's helping you to organize how you feel. It's helping you to clean out your spiritual aura. It's helping you to get really zoned in on what it is that's going to help you go to the next level. And through that, you're having a lot of spiritual growth right now. And spiritual growth is never something that's easy. Like, spiritual growth is not pretty at all. Sometimes it's a nightmare, but it's worth it. But it doesn't make it any less difficult. It's like spiritual growth can sometimes just be like, I am never leaving the house. I'm never going to get out of bed. Like, I can't move. My body aches all over. I can't even walk because for some reason my hip is twisted and my stub my toe, and I feel like I might have broken it, but I'm not sure. And you know what I mean? Like, there's always all these weird little things that come with spiritual growth, and it feels like our body is falling apart. And in a way, it is, because you're releasing things that you've been holding on to for so long. So it's like falling apart to fall back into alignment, which is something that's foreign to it. And so that alignment is very difficult. It's odd that I'm talking about body aches and pains for your pile, because I feel like maybe you're going through a lot of body aches and pains. And the thing that they're telling me now is like to liken it to like if you've ever been to a chiropractor and they cracked your neck or cracked your back. It feels great, right? When they're doing it, it feels amazing. But then the next day, it feels like you were hit by a Mack truck, right? Like you're like, oh no, are you sure this is exactly how this is supposed to go down? But that's also what spiritual alignment is. Like sometimes our body is releasing so much pent up trauma and stress, and the chi has been blocked in certain areas for so long that when we're going through those spiritual moments of healing, like we're releasing that baggage from our body, and then our body, the chi begins to move and it starts to align the muscles and the bone again. And there's a lot of pain, a physical pain that comes with that. They're saying things are moving. But I do feel like there's a fear here that's underlying that's like, when is it just going to fall apart again? Like, everything seems okay right now, but yeah, when's it going to fall apart? They're saying like, you've come beyond that catastrophizing things. Like, you don't need to do that anymore. That's a mindset that will keep manifesting that type of energy into your life. And so saying, you know, like, one of the best affirmations that I've used in my own journey is the universe is for me and so is everything else. And source always ensures that everything is working out for my highest good. Like, those two affirmations have been so supportive and helped me just realize, like, catastrophizing doesn't help us at all, because we get stuck in our feels and then we get really low vibrational and then we think all the worst of the worst of the worst is going to happen. And then something really bad does happen. And then we're like, see, I knew the worst of the worst of the worst is going to happen. But we also missed all the good things that happened up until that point, you know? So they're saying, like, stop catastrophizing and come into a place like, how can you raise your vibration? What's going to help you raise your vibration? Do you need to disconnect and go have fun? Do you need to play a game? Do you need to go work out? Do you need to go jog around the block to get your energy pumping? Do you need to sing your, you know, lungs out? What do you need to do to change your energy and find a way to do that? Because right now you're just in a period of making space for those manifestations to come through, okay? So spirit guides of pile number 3, what solutions are you bringing to pile number 3? What solutions are you bringing to pile number 3? Okay, thank you. What solutions are you bringing to pile number 3? What solutions are you bringing to pile number 3? Spirit guides of pile number 3. Thank you. What solutions are you bringing to pile number 3? Okay. Thank you. What solutions are you bringing to pile number 3? Yeah. So with the Ace of Swords in the reverse here, it's just showing, like, having a misguided viewpoint on it, like not seeing things clearly. It can talk about conceit, but I feel like if we were going to talk about conceit in this manner, it's more or less like the emotional ego is not willing to let go of its old ways, and it's doing everything that it can to stay grounded in your energy and still hold a modicum of control over you. Not balancing out the energy here. Yeah. And it's interesting, balance has kind of been the underlying energy for all 3 readings, but I don't know if you watched the intro we got on the bottom of the deck as a collective energy was the balance card. Yeah. Obstinate refusal to change. I don't want to change. Changing makes me feel uncomfortable. It's exhausting. And I feel like I'm always fighting against something here that just never, ever... It never gets tired. It never gets exhausted. Like, I'm always going up to battle, and even when I'm tired, it's battling me back. This is like devil energy to me with these two together. It's like this energy of, you know, feeling oppressed by something that's invisible, like an invisible force, but not recognizing that it's actually trauma that's playing a part in this journey right now. And then with the Knight of Swords coming out underneath that, we're showing here, you have to come in and save yourself. Yeah, you have to choose to save yourself and not hope that, you know, these items or these things that you're manifesting are going to be what saves you, because they're not. If you don't save yourself, you're going to manifest these things, but you're going to sabotage it because you're not yet in a space where you can welcome them in. And that's why it's taking so long. And that's why things aren't playing out exactly the way that you want them to right now, because they're trying to help you heal from this self-sabotaging energy. Wow. We've got the Queen of Coins in the reverse. Okay. Wow. And the Queen of Cups. So you could have 2 women around you who are very unkind and who step on toes to get where they want to go and who don't care about your emotions. This could be a mother figure that has been in your life who's very unloving and very overbearing and focused solely on the material goods in life. And I feel like this is something that's playing a part right now. It's like, well, material is what's going to get me out of this slump. So money's going to get me where I need to go. Money's going to give me everything that I need, you know, and realizing that, like, that's not actually true. That's the illusion, right? That's this misguided reasoning. And so we see here, we're seeing a preview that this could have been a Capricorn or a Cancer. This could have been an earth sign or a water sign. It could be a father even. It doesn't have to be a mother, but with the queens here, it does give us that mother energy. But someone who was not nurturing at all, who only cared about material gain in your life, and that was something they never changed. Like, it was like not even the relationship with you mattered. It was all about the material gain. Like, they didn't even have any emotions to give because it was all about how they could win materialistically. What am I going to get out of this that's going to get me ahead in life? And that was always what you saw, what you heard, or what you were forced to believe. And now it's feeling like you want to manifest these great things, but you're not seeing it come in the way that you figured that it would, or it's not coming in the way that you wanted it to. And it's feeling like I'm never going to have solitude, or I'm never going to have solace in life because it's not coming in how they said it would, right? It feels like other people told you, like, it's going to go like this. And while people can teach us how to manifest things, which is great, right? Like, we wouldn't know about it otherwise, but we also have to recognize that we're all individual. And so our experience is going to still be different than this person who's teaching us. So it's good to use their blueprints as a way for us to begin to understand it ourselves, but we're still going to have things that we have to uncover ourselves as we go. And it feels like right now there's like this huge resistance to change that's coming out, and it's only looking at things from this very material perspective. With the 5 of Wands in the reverse and the Queen of Coins here, there's this energy like, I absolutely refuse to change the way I look at things, because I know if I get this $1 million, then I won't have to worry. And so this might be something that you're not realizing. This could be something that's very subconscious coming into play, where it's like you keep basing your worth on the amount of money that you have in your pocket or in your bank account, and you're not seeing it that way because you are working on healing and you are working on other things. But this could be one of the deeper wounds that's coming out as well. This could be one of those things that's just like, you know, if you saw this your whole life, like say it was a parent, you saw this even when you were a child, like a baby, you were just born coming into this type of energy. So you probably saw how they made it, you know, maybe they made you seem like a burden, or maybe they made it seem like you were the problem in their life because they never had any money. They always had to give it to you. And these are things that really weigh heavily on a child. Even though people think children don't understand, energy doesn't lie, right? And so that, a child might not understand the why, but they see the what. Right? And so that's what it could be. Like, you were always getting fed that, like, you were a burden, you were a problem, like, you cost so much money, and it was just overwhelming for them because they didn't have it and they didn't want to give it to you either. But when they had anything extra, they always went and bought frivolous things. Like, they would spend it on useless things, and you're like, what the heck? Like, you have money to go and buy 6 boxes of candy, but you couldn't give me lunch money for the week because that was such an issue, you know, like things like that. And that's what it feels like. And so that thought process has made you feel like you're not good enough. And so you're striving to manifest these things in your life, and you're doing the best that you can, and you're really working hard towards it, but things aren't seemingly coming to fruition for you. And so there's a feeling that comes with that, that's being brought forth here, is saying, I'm not ever going to be good enough to manifest the life that I desire. Like, I'm always going to be struggling. And so you're not actually in a space where there's space created to bring those manifestations in. Right? Like I said, you're healing, you're doing the work, but maybe this is one that's really hard for you to face, or this is like a repressed energy because it was daunting and horrific because you didn't get the love that you needed. And it's like, you understand that you weren't getting the love that you needed, but maybe putting a name to it, like money was more important than you, like that feels awful, right? Like that feels yucky. And so maybe putting a label on it so that you can begin to understand it. And, you know I always talk about don't put a label on it, don't put a label on it. But when it comes to our emotions, we have to label them sometimes so that we can better understand ourselves and the why like, why are we showing up this way? Like, and I feel like here it's seeing that material things mattered more than building a cohesive relationship with the people who actually meant more in life. But there's this twisted mindset that's coming through from someone from your childhood. Like I said, it could be a parent, a mother, a father, grandparent, an auntie and uncle, a caretaker, or a caregiver, or, you know, it could even be siblings, where it was like they always made you feel like you were the problem, that they were struggling. And while they maybe never said that, or in some cases they were saying that, like it's like this belief, like it's hard for me to acknowledge that a dollar bill or even a penny held more value than my life. Right? Like, I already feel that. I feel that in my heart. I feel that in my gut. Like, it's like, holy crap, like a penny was more valuable than my life, but that's not the truth. That may be what they made you believe, but that's not the truth. That's the illusion, and that illusion has been feeding you for so long, and it's been dictating how you show up in your life. And it's been a barren wasteland, because you feel like every time you might get a good job, like it feels like your money is going out faster than it's coming in, and you're not understanding because you're trying to pay your bills, you're trying to take care of the important things, but it's because of this mindset. So you might not realize you're frivolously spending. You don't see it as frivolous spending because you picked up spending habits from someone else that's that mindset that's coming through, that's playing out its role. And so honoring that and saying like, wow, this is the way I lived for so long, and giving that respect, right? Like, that's how we grew up, but saying like, I respect that that's how I grew up, but I'm also saying now it's time for me to choose a different route. I am valuable because I have breath in my lungs, and choosing to see that as the most valuable thing is life. You have life, and that is the most valuable thing, because I tell you what, anybody that has this mindset in life, that's forced this on others, at the end of their road, they would give every dollar they had if it meant having more time. No matter what, I've seen this happen in so many instances where people are like, I would give everything I had if it meant I could have more time. I'm not ready. And the reason they're not ready is because they never built anything that was meaningful. Yeah, and there's like this distrust. I feel like you've been hiding a lot of your emotions, and you've been super, super critical, and calling it like rational criticism. Like, I need to be critical of myself. I need to force myself to do things, or I need to push myself in these areas because I know no one else is going to, but I need to make sure that I'm disciplined enough. But I feel like you're calling what you call rational criticism is actually very degrading, and you're calling that like useful, and it's because you don't know any better, right? And that's okay. Like, no one's here blaming you. Like, your spirit guides aren't saying like, how dare you treat yourself. Like, I feel like that's something we always have to remind ourselves, like, no one's blaming us for this. And the way that we blame ourselves, it's usually very self-deprecating. Like, we're the only ones that are doing that, right? And so they're saying, like, if you come into this understanding of it, you're going to let go of these negative and unproductive thoughts, and let go of these misconceptions and delusions that have been keeping you small for so long, and this self-defeat that's been playing a role in your life for a long time. This is that self-sabotage coming through. It's like losing your edge in the situation now. It feels like you can't, like, almost like you want to give up. You could have watched all three piles, and as always, if you watched all three piles, that's the Purple Heart Club. Leave a purple heart down below. I know exactly what that means, and just say I made it. But I feel like that's been an underlying message for the collective as well, is this energy of like, not wanting to traverse this deeper, darker truth because it hurts so much. I don't know. Let's dig into it deeper. This is letting go. Look at this. Look at this with the Eight of Cups and talking about family too. The Eight of Cups in the Tarot Marseille talks about family. Okay, and so we have the Eight of Cups coming out with letting go. It's time to let go. Let bygones be bygones. It's like, it was really difficult, but it served its purpose, and it's no longer serving a purpose in your life. Can we please clarify the Ace of Swords, Spirit Guides? Thank you. Control. Yeah. This is the King of Swords. Look at this very... This is an uninviting type of energy here. It's very strict. It's very stiff. Like, there's no movement in the card. There's nothing that flows. Everything is very rigid. Feels very cynical. And this energy of, like, just this darkness that's coming through. It's like, you have to do exactly what I say, otherwise. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it feels like you're becoming the voice in your mind. Like, that's the voice that you're hearing, is someone who treated you like that. And you're becoming that same voice. Like, you have to do exactly what I say, otherwise, and then enter whatever that was. And there's no leniency there. And also, I feel like there might be this belief, like, I'm calling this intuition, even though it's not. It's the emotional ego trying to convince you that it is intuition, and it's not. Right? There's just this energy of, like, being super cynical towards yourself and super rigid towards yourself and not knowing quite how to let go. So let's see what this is. Postponement with the Four of Swords. Yeah, look at this. Feels like depression, right? It feels like depression here. And seeing the world as something that's bright and clear, and like everybody else seems to know exactly what to do. That's what I was saying. Like, if someone teaches you how to manifest, it's like, that's great and all, but we have to learn our own ways to do it. It's like we use that as a blueprint to understand what works for us. But it feels like you're using someone else's blueprint and saying, well, it's not working for me, so obviously it's not for me. And that's not at all, like, the truth. It just means, oh, okay, the window. It just means that you have to find the way that's going to work best for you. I feel like you're on the, either on the inside looking out or on the outside looking in. Like, you feel distant from everyone else and you feel disconnected from everyone else. And your spirit guides are telling you, like, all it takes is for you to see that you're a part of this too. Right? This is the mind playing its games on you. This is the mind playing its tricks on you. Like, look, even your shirt is colorful here, but you can't see it because you're shrouded in the darkness. And, you know, depression is not something to scoff at. Like, it's not something that, like, oh my gosh, like, you should just get over it. That's not at all what they're saying here. And that's not at all, like, what anybody here is saying. Because I've dealt with depression as well. It's not easy to overcome. In fact, it is incredibly difficult, and it tends to come up at the most inopportune times. But when we feel those dark moments coming in, we can either let them spiral us out of control, or we can choose to think about something else, and we can choose to move on from that. And so it feels like a lot of times here you're using this harsh voice. Is like, it's like the excuse is like, well, if I don't treat myself this way, I'm never going to get anything done. But you will. In fact, you probably become more productive if you're kinder to yourself and celebrate the small moments. And that's why I feel like your spirit guides are telling you, like, you don't need to be this harsh voice that was in your life, and you don't need to believe the same things that that person believed either, because you came with a purpose of showing love and showing yourself love first and foremost. Yeah, experiencing, reconnecting with your purpose, right? And I feel like your purpose is all about allowing things to happen instead of forcing them to happen, instead of trying to be so harsh on yourself. It's like, well, you know, I only have the energy to show up to work out for 20 minutes today, but I have to work out for 3 hours every day. Like, that's something I have to do. And so you force yourself to go and work out for 3 hours, but you're exhausted. And by the time you're done, like, you can't even finish anything in your day. And so you end up forcing yourself to go and do things in your day, and you're so tired you can barely keep your eyes open. You're making mistakes because you have no energy and you're completely exhausted. is that really being productive? But it feels like the emotional ego is trying to convince you that, yes, this is productive because at least we're doing this, at least we're doing this, at least we're doing this, but it's still being really harsh to you. And so now's the time to begin to integrate all those things and all that work that you've been doing, that healing that you've been doing, and let yourself experience part of the feminine, the divine feminine, which is receiving. And receiving is coming into that very slow energy, that slow moving energy. It's not about doing, it's about being. And that feels very uncomfortable for you, pile 3. I can feel the resistance coming through. Like, I don't know how to just be. Well, that's why we practice it, right? Even if it's 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there, at least practice is better than nothing, right? Yeah, we got Capricorn energy, ambitious, realism and methodical steps, one step at a time. Also, Capricorns are the hardest working zodiac in the zodiac wheel, and I know not everybody's going to agree with that, but really they have that energy. You know, they're ruled by the 10th house. They're ruled by Saturn. They are connected with the 10th house. And the 10th house is all about our career, our accomplishments. It's like a Capricorn will set a goal just for the sake of setting a goal. Like, they'll work towards it, and then as soon as they make that goal, like, it's not even about celebrating the goal, then they set another goal. Like, they're not afraid to work hard, put their head down and work hard. And a lot of the earth signs are like that, right? They're just very slow moving. We're going to take action and do what we need to do. But Capricorns really do that. Like, they're very good at doing that, more so than any other zodiac sign that I know. And that's the thing. It's like, so with this, you can let that become all of your life, or you can choose to lighten up a little bit and say, like, it's good to have this energy because it's going to get me places, but sometimes the clock is going to run out and I'm going to need to rest. I'm going to need to come into that soft energy. Yeah, Leo energy, self-confidence, loyalty, and creativity, and recognizing that you're doing things good for yourself, but, you know, the only way to be confident is to celebrate yourself. You know, we have Aries, Leo, Sag, and Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy with Yang energy, proactivity, expression, doing, forward motion. I feel like you've been in the masculine energy for a long time. Yeah, you've been in the masculine energy for a long time, and they want you to come into this place of just experiencing life, but from a place of kindness for yourself. This is when your blessings will come in. This is when the blessings are going to come in for you. Effortlessly. Yeah, like coming into this very effortless energy, just flow like a waterfall. Right? And I feel like sometimes for you, pile 3, like, that might just feel so contradictory. Like, no, like, I have to work hard to play hard. Like, this is the belief that I believe in, and I have to do this, and I have to do that. And it's like, you don't have to do any of that. You've already worked really hard, and you've already forced yourself into working really hard all the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like, if you don't allow space to receive, how can you ever receive your blessings? Sacrifice. The bull. Yeah. Like, sometimes you just have to sacrifice the things that we think mean the most to us, right? And that could be the hard work. And I'm not telling you to be lazy. Not like, oh, we'll just give up on work altogether. No, but you know what? Maybe you need to go on a vacation, you know, like, go somewhere and not even think about the things that you do, and really sit with yourself and understand, like, am I really being ruthless to myself when it comes to, you know, the way that I'm working, the way that I'm showing up. Truth transcends illusion with the dragonfly spirit. Number 22, trusting in the process. And dragonfly eggs will stay dormant for a long time sometimes before they hatch. Like, I can't even remember. I think it's like 18 months or something like that. Now, don't quote me on that, but I know they stay dormant for a long time before they hatch. To wait for conditions to be perfect for them. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to wait for conditions to be perfect, but that dormancy is what, you know, really is standing out. Like, it's okay to come into that. It's like almost connecting with winter, right? Like, coming into that slow energy. It's like all the world is asleep during the winter time. Why? So that it can gather the energy it needs to grow again. We've got Pele coming out. She came out in one of the other piles. You might have resonated with another pile as well. Light your fire. Yeah. I feel like that's the other thing too, is maybe knowing exactly what you want. There's a lot of like wishy-washy energy here, and it's like, I'm doing this because I know this is what I should do, but is it really what you want to do? And that's a question to ask yourself. Yeah, inner strength with Rihanna in here. So it's like coming into that peaceful inner strength and knowing that you can direct your life in the way that you desire. Oh my goodness. Oh, excuse me. All right. Cycles. Yeah, this has been a repeat cycle in your life with hair. This is something that's happened time and time again. Like, you've gone through this quite a bit. And it's time to collaborate. I feel like it's time for you to meet friends and family, you know, like spiritual family. Like, go out and connect with people who support you and people who lift you up. People who have faith in you because you're you. You might still be surrounded by people who expect you to constantly be moving, and just because they feel like they have to constantly be moving, or just because they feel like money is the only important thing in life, or just because they don't see the value in you, doesn't mean it's true. Right? Like, we've lived a lot of paradigms in this way, and we've lived a lot of generations like that, and we're seeing them fall apart. But sometimes they're still holding on. I feel like this is something that's holding on to you. Don't be afraid to go after what you want. You know, you don't have to fit into anybody's box. Shadow. Look at this from your healer guides. Facing the shadow. Yeah, this is something that has been really hard for you to face. This is a part of the shadow, right? This subconscious pattern that's coming up. This is a part of the shadow. 31. Look at this. I'm not surprised that Pele came out, because the first thing is anger, vengeance, violation, and spite. And Pele is the goddess of volcanoes. And, you know, whenever we think of a volcano erupting, it's very angry, right? It's like angry at the whole world. It's going to cause destruction. So it feels like there's a lot of anger that's underneath the surface here for you, but you can't even let it come up, because it's almost like you're like, I can't feel anger. I'm not allowed to feel anger. But if you don't feel anger, you're denying yourself the opportunity to feel any other emotion as well. What we don't want to do is feel our anger and project that out onto everybody else, right? Like, we don't want to make everybody else feel bad and all that stuff. But it's like, it's okay to find someone we trust and share our anger with. Like, I'm really angry about this situation, and this is why I'm angry about it, you know, and someone that you can share that with. And if you can't share it with someone, share it with Source. Share it with your guides. They're always listening. It says, although no one likes to admit it, we all have our dark sides and shadow. Those less than flattering facets of our personality that take delight in abusing and shaming others and wielding power in the most unfair ways, and sometimes ourselves. Whether it's the condescending remark to the slow-moving grocery bagger at the supermarket, the aggressive hand gesture directed toward the meandering driver on the road, or the belittling comment made to your annoying friend, many of us are guilty of hurting or deriding others at times. Your divine healers are present to help you confront your shadow and to lovingly make you aware that it's contempt for yourself and your vulnerability that fuels such hostility and misbehavior towards others. These gentle but powerful higher forces surround you in love and urge you to accept and embrace your weaker aspects, rather than harshly reject yourself by attacking those aspects in others. Ease up and be more tolerant of and compassionate toward yourself. If you do, these shadow behaviors will give way to light and healing. Your healer guide's message to you today is accept your limitations with grace and let others in. So I'm not surprised Collaborate came through. So yeah, it's like really connecting with someone else here that you trust. Like, don't be afraid to let others in, and don't stay in that negative energy of belittling yourself or even projecting that onto others. We have 3131 coming out, so that's 44, and that's all about strength, structure, and stability. But also checking out what 3131, the numerological number, means. That might deepen the meaning of this reading for you as well. 31 might be a very important number in your life, okay? So I know this is a difficult reading, pile 3, but, you know, sometimes we have to go through these difficult readings to really get to the core of what's really holding us back. And I feel like your guides are helping you to traverse the shadow aspect of yourself in a way that's going to help you really heal and let go, okay? So this is what I see here for. If you feel like this is your reading, leave the little black box emoji down below and say, I choose to open the shadow and let the light in, knowing that I no longer have to stay confined by the beliefs that others may have projected on me for my life. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. If you are interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find everything you need in the description box, including how to reach me for a personal reading, as well as how to join as a member of the channel. And with that, I do want to say thank you to your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides, and a special shout out to your healer guides for coming in today for this powerful message. And until next time, pile number 3, stay human. Bye.